Welcome to our first YouTube exclusive video where we will be giving out our 49ers Diamond Pick of the Week. Once a week, we are going over all the betting odds and giving you our pick for the 49ers. Dee, why don't you go and break down a little bit what's going on this week?
Yeah, and I mean, before we get into that, if you're here and you like this content, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, comment. All that stuff really helps us out. But hopping into the week 2 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. So the 49ers are the overwhelming favorite. It's a line of 9. It went from 9.5 down to 9, but that's still a lot of points. So that means that the 49ers have to win by more than 9 points, or the Seattle Seahawks can lose, but they could cover if they lose by less than 9 points. And those odds are, I think it is minus 110. Let me double check. Yep. So it's minus 110 for that. As I said before, the 49ers are the overwhelming favorite. So it is, if you bet on the 49ers to win just flat out money line, it is minus 420. So that means you have to bet $420 to win 100 back. If you were to take the Seahawks in this, it's great value. So it's plus 320. And the over-under is 40.5. So total score has to equal either over or under 40.5. What are your thoughts on this game? Like, how do you feel like the line is set?
I mean, it's a huge line to put the line at 9.5 early in the week and still at 9. I don't feel great about betting the against the spread for the 49ers. I mean, if you're a Seahawks fan, this is a great week for you. Just bet against that spread. And if the Seahawks lose by a touchdown, you still win some money. But as for the 49ers fans, it's a little tough for me to put money behind that spread. It's just anything could go. Like, anything could happen at the end of this game. Even if 49ers are up 2 touchdowns and they get a garbage time touchdown, boom, you lose your bet. And then as far as betting just straight up money line 49ers to win, it doesn't really get my juices flowing. Like, what is it, minus 140 you said, just for a straight up win? I don't know. I like to take a little more risk, a little more bang for my buck there. So we're gonna look into some different props. But what are your thoughts on just the spread and the money line straight up?
It doesn't make sense to bet on it. Like, we've just seen this team lose to a subpar Chicago Bears team. I would like to see them get a couple wins under their belts and have some blowouts if that's how it's going to be. Just to prove it that they are able to hit that line. So, and it doesn't make sense to bet on the money line either. You just don't win that much. So I'm good off that. I would rather hop into some props and let's do that.
I mean, I guess you could look at, like, the Seahawks barely beat the Broncos, and it took a lot of like big swings to go their way with the 2 fumbles in the red zone and the terrible call at the end of the game to not go for on 4th and 5. So that game easily could have been maybe not a blowout, but easily won by Denver handedly. And so you look at that and you look at the 49ers, who put up a good first half against the Bears in a monsoon in the second half. We don't really know what to expect from their offense. Definitely more than 10 points. So I mean, you could look at those factors, be like, well, 49ers are primed to have a big week. Seahawks primed to fall off a little bit. With Geno Smith, especially, you can't really count on this guy week in, week out. I know everyone's singing his praises, but he didn't play like an MVP level football. He got to win in a 17-16 game, which props to him, but that's not betting wise. You don't think this team's putting up major points.
Yeah, and you always bet off of the like track record of the season. And I would really, really like to see the 49ers at least prove it once. Prove it that you could beat a team handedly, and then let's go ahead and let's reassess after that. But until that happens, I'm going to go ahead and hold off of a line that's that big.
Yeah, and let's get into some of these props. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so Trey Lance passing yards is one that I really like. In the monsoon, he had, I believe, 160 yards. Now he's looking at an over-under of, he's looking at an over-under of 189.5. I think that's very doable. The weather is still going to be a factor on Sunday, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a factor. And I think that he hits that fairly easily. It's not that big of a, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a jump from 160 to 190. I think he's got that in the bag. Another one that I'm really, really liking is the rushing yards. I really like Deebo Samuel with Elijah Mitchell out. We know he's going to get a handle, like he's going to get more than his fair share of touches as far as from the wide back position. His over under is only 38.5 yards. He had 50 last week, and that was with Elijah Mitchell playing for like 1.5 quarters. So I'm feeling like he's going to hit that. What about you?
I feel really good about both of those. Both of those could easily be our diamond pick of the week. Trey Lance, I think, is easily going to get over that 189 mark. Yeah, so Trey Lance last year against Seattle, he had 157 yards. Against Arizona, 192, which would have been perfect for this game. And then Houston, 249. So this guy definitely can get over that 190 mark. And he should be more comfortable than when he played Houston and Arizona last year. And if you watch him play, especially last week, he's getting a lot of these big chunk yardage plays. Talking about like 30 yards to Juwan Jennings, 30 yards to Brandon Aiyuk, and then throw it to Deebo on the screen. He's getting 10 yards after the run. So he really has it set up for him to get these like deep in routes and deep out routes to get chunk yardage and really build that number quickly. Even if it is a bad weather game and he's struggling a bit, he could still push the ball downfield in a handful of plays and get close to that mark. So I'm feeling really good about that. And then we've seen time and time again with Kyle, if Elijah Mitchell's out, he's going to roll with Deebo at the running back position. And I was actually surprised to see Deebo at running back a lot last game once Elijah Mitchell went out. I think Kyle doesn't feel great about any of these backups right now, any one guy. So he'd rather roll with Deebo.
Yeah, I mean, look at how dynamic Deebo Samuel is when he plays the wide back spot. I think that you're going to get a heavy dose of him, especially because Kyle doesn't know what to expect. And I think I was expecting a little bit more from Jeff Wilson Jr. last week. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was, that figuring out that O-line and what's going to be there and what's not. But Deebo Samuel looked great coming off that edge. And I think we're going to see a lot of that moving forward. I'm pretty sure we're going to get at least one Deebo Samuel touchdown. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and leading into that Deebo Samuel touchdown, you got another prop for us with Deebo's touchdown numbers?
Yeah, I mean, so there is a prop bet where it has Deebo Samuel with at least one touchdown in San Francisco to win. Those odds aren't that great, but I feel like that's a lock. I think that is minus 121. But the one that really does interest me is involving Brandon Aiyuk. So Brandon Aiyuk, you can get for Brandon Aiyuk to have 80 yards and San Francisco to win at plus 373. Those are great odds. And all week, people have talked about where was Brandon Aiyuk? Is Brandon Aiyuk going to get more touches? He was the talk of camp. I think with Deebo playing more of the wide back spot, that leaves Brandon Aiyuk as the number one target. And Trey Lance already has a lot of good chemistry with Brandon Aiyuk. I think that's going to be, I'm going to smash that one. I really like that bet.
Yeah, you look at Aiyuk, the talk was all preseason of how amazing this guy's going to be. He's going to have a breakout year. And then people were talking like he didn't do anything last week. He had 3 targets, yeah, 2 catches, but 2 catches for 60 yards. And if you think about it, he gets one more catch, he already meets that prop bet, and we win the game. I feel really good about this bet, and the plus on that, the plus 320, that's an amazing profit if you can hit on this game specifically. I think, yeah, you're right. Deebo as the Y back, and even with Deebo at receiver, Brandon Aiyuk is our best downfield target. He can run the full route tree. He's looked great in space, and I'm not taking anything away from Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings had his moments last week, but going forward in the season, I think Aiyuk's going to be the guy downfield, and this could be the game where he showcases that. I don't think there's a matchup in their secondary that really scares me when I'm betting on Aiyuk, especially with Jamal Adams going down. They're going to be kind of trying to find themselves in that secondary, and Aiyuk is definitely trying to establish himself. So this could be a statement game for Aiyuk, and 80 yards. he almost got there with 2 catches last week. I think he hit it with better weather this week.
Better weather, like their secondary is not that good. They had Kobe Bryant, Kobe with the C, and Michael Jackson out there playing the corners. Jamal Adams is down. It's really the only legitimate secondary player that the Seahawks have is Quandre Diggs. So I think this, and with, again, Deebo playing the wide back spot a lot, I think this is going to really open up the field for Brandon Aiyuk. And if you're feeling a little risky, you want to get a little bit more better odds, they have Brandon Aiyuk at over 100 yards in San Francisco to get the win. And those odds are fucking crazy. It is plus 800. So if you're feeling a little bit more risky, you're like, hey, you know what? I think Brandon Aiyuk is going to have a game. I think that those are, again, really good odds. But we're doing a lock of the week. This is our diamond pick. I think I'm going to have to go with something that is for sure, surefire going to hit for you guys. And I think that's Trey Lance over his passing yards.
Yeah, I fully agree. I'm ready to set that as our diamond pick of the week. It's going to be a good week for Trey Lance throwing the ball. Hopefully, I think he's going to be way better than last week. I mean, last week in the monsoon, he threw for 160. I mean, with a little rain, this guy can probably throw for 200.
Yep. And so that's our lock this week. It's Trey Lance over 190 passing yards. Go ahead and set it. We're down 0-1. This is going to make us 1-1. Let's go. We're putting 75 on this Trey Lance pick. But I'm also going to throw another 50 in. We're
doubling down this week.
I really like the Brandon Aiyuk over 80 receiving yards and San Francisco to win. I think that's a surefire. Like, the 49ers are going to win this game. I don't know by how much, but they are going to win this game. And I think if Trey Lance is going to have over the 190 mark, I think it's going to be a good majority to Brandon Aiyuk. Those are the picks. Trey Lance over 190, Brandon Aiyuk over 80 yards plus the win.
So feeling really good about both of those bets. Go ahead and lock it in. We're 0-1, but we're going to go 2-1 this week. So feeling really good about it.